Hello there. Welcome to part one of a 4-part video series I'm putting together to help people manage their finances better. In this video series, I'll be chatting to you guys about the 4 most common types of finance, namely being unsecured debt, vehicle finance, property finance, and business finance. When it comes to building your wealth, it's very important that you start having the financial literacy to be very savvy with how you manage your money. In part 1, I'll be chatting to you guys about short-term debt. And I hope this helps you build your wealth and build the kind of skill sets and thinking required to put you in a position where you can start making the right decisions. Enjoy. Unsecured debt, if not managed very well, can eat away at your ability to create wealth very, very quickly. The reason why it can eat away at your ability to create wealth is because the interest charged on unsecured debt is relatively high versus other kinds of debt out there. The reason why interest charge is high because it's unsecured. In other words, there is no security or collateral backing the short-term debt that you have, whether it's credit cards, overdraft facilities, personal loans, or revolving loans. All of them are not backed by any kind of security. Therefore, the banks naturally charge you a premium for the risk they're taking in giving you these short-term or unsecured debt facilities. So it's extremely important that you understand that maximizing your wealth means minimizing your exposure to short-term debt. Now, a lot of people have no idea the interest they pay on their credit cards, on their personal loans, on their revolving facilities, or on any of their debt. And it's quite surprising how everyone wants to become wealthy, but not everyone is taking the time to become really savvy and have a firm grip when it comes to their money and how to manage their debt owing. So do yourself a favor. Pull all your statements for all your facilities, particularly your short-term debt, so that you have a view of how much you're owing in interest terms. And then rank them from highest to lowest and start paying these off one by one until they've all been paid off. And this will really put you in a position where you start freeing up cash flow that you can use to then invest in assets that create the wealth that you need to enable you to be financially free. Some people will save money, at the same time have short-term debt owing on their credit cards, personal loans, revolving loan facilities, etc. If the savings that you have yield a higher interest than what you're owing on your short-term debt, then yeah, go ahead, save money, invest, because in that way, the returns you're getting far outweigh the costs you're paying on your facilities. But in my experience, the returns you get on your savings are nowhere near the interest charged on short-term debt facilities. So please make sure that you're paying off your short-term debt, and in that way accelerating your ability to free up as much cash flow as possible. An easy way for you to see all the debt in your life, which a lot of banks also look at, is credit reports on credit bureaus like TransUnion. When you apply for a debt facility at any bank, banks will run a credit report on you to see your credit worthiness or gauge how you're able to settle the debt and how well you've managed your facilities in the past or historically. And if there's a lot of short-term debt in your life, this is usually a red flag for a high-risk potential customer. And banks will either steer away from you or charge you relatively high for a facility that you could ordinarily afford just because you have exposure to a lot of short-term debt in your life. So short-term debt doesn't bode well in terms of future facilities and in terms of putting you in a better cash flow situation. What a lot of people don't know is these TransUnion reports are freely available to all South Africans every single year. In fact, out of the 24 million or so credit active consumers, Less than 5% make use of this opportunity. So please, I implore you, do yourself a favor, check out these reports and start having a firm grip on your finances. This will give you the mindset to start making the right decisions that will put you in a position where you're really now starting to create wealth. From a wealth perspective, particularly when it comes to short-term debt, it is extremely important that you live within your means. Do not spend money that you don't have, especially if it's for things that you do not need or can afford to pay cash for. Myself personally, I only use short-term debt for extreme emergencies. This is my personal perspective. Short-term debt should only be used for extreme emergencies, not to supplement my life, not for me to buy things that I don't need and then end up paying a premium for in interest, but rather have the flexibility there when I need it in the case of an emergency. So please, never let anyone, your parents, your friends, your colleagues, pressurize you to live a lifestyle that you know you can't afford. Maybe you graduated from varsity and started working in a nice air-conditioned environment. This does not mean you need to live a life that is contradictory to your bank balance. Live within your means. Manage your short-term debt by minimizing it as much as possible so that you free up cash flow for you to invest in real assets that help you become financially free. Get a real grip on your finances by running a TransUnion report, pull the statements, understand the interest owing, list them from highest to lowest, and start paying them off in that order. If you have money saved, rather plow that into settling any debt outstanding in your life so that you accelerate your ability to free up cash flow. And please live within your means. I trust this has been extremely helpful in giving you the kind of insights that banks look at and the kind of insights that you can start developing when it comes to managing your short-term debt. Check out part 2 of this 4-part series where I'll be chatting to you guys about vehicle finance and the kind of stuff you need to be looking out for when it comes to upgrading your ride or getting that new whip. I promise you, it's gonna be a movie. One love.